Hey, it's all about quality, not about quantity, right? Let's get back to another round of Brewsday Tuesday with DreZ and Big Nate.
I
Hey,
didn't even
this one
think to arm
works.
myself on that one.
Well, you didn't have a choice because I had the one good one. But then again, I shot it over your head on purpose. I wouldn't have felt right shooting an unarmed man. It is Brewsday Tuesday, brought to you by the Cellar Restaurant and Six Pack Store in downtown Blacksburg. We're continuing our stout kick, and we're kicking it up a notch because I just popped from Left Hand Brewing Company the Wake Up the, or it just says Wake Up Dead. I was going to throw the I was going to throw the in there twice unnecessarily. It's just Wake Up Dead. It's not the Wake Up the Dead. It's an Imperial Stout, 10.2%. And it says right here on the side, brewed on the banks of the mighty St. Vrain. They're out of Colorado, right? Longmount, Colorado, Left Hand Brewing Company. Bold yet smooth with notes of dark chocolate, dried fruit, and coffee. I'm glad I did use
the proper glassware.
Yeah, and it does say, drink it in a goblet. Enjoy at 50 to 55 degrees. So we might have should have taken this out of the fridge a little earlier. In fact, I even mentioned that too before we popped the mics.
Just breathe on
that
the
maybe
bottle.
we should let these sit out a little bit more and let them warm. I'll just hold it a little bit. And then it does say, and we talked about this, the whole aging thing, cellar for up to 5 years. So I know there is a cap. You don't want to keep them too long, but I don't think this bottle is that old. You're right. You would think that they would put a date on here, and it might be there. The thing is, it's
making you do the work yourself. You got to write the date, and
it's a dark beer, so you need to pour it out to really get an idea. Oh, yep, there is one. I have to pour it out to see. So I'll have to let you know.
Tricked you. The and anytime I hear the phrase "wake up dead," maybe your brain goes to the same place. I think of Scary Movie 3 with Kevin Hart and Anthony Anderson.
So to me, the second one was the last good one, but maybe I need to rewatch it because Scary Movie, that was the one with
Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't it just terrible? It's when it went from R to PG-13.
I think that's also when Leslie Nielsen entered the series,
and it just became Airplane.
Yeah,
the Airplane of it.
There were some funny bits in the third one, particularly the whole debate on the phrase "wake up dead." Well, you go to bed dead, you go to bed alive, you wake up dead. But if you're dead, you're not waking up. And like they debate it for like a good 10 minutes, and it's like maybe this bit went on too long. But
I mean, I know I've seen it, but it doesn't ring a bell. So I could see there is printing on here. I just can't make it out. And of course, yeah, I don't know. Somebody's trying to get in. Yeah, I can BS, I guess, if you could make it quick. So here's the thing about Brewsday Tuesday. It's at 6 o'clock. And 6 o'clock, unfortunately, is when most people, including the radio station, business hours are officially over. And so we are usually the only people, in this case today, not always, but we are the only ones in the building. So when people come by and they ring the doorbell and, they want a prize or whatever, even though we say come by during business hours, some people do break the rules a little bit, or maybe it's for something else, totally entirely different. But that's what he just ran out. I don't know if you could hear the doorbell in the background, but yep, that actually happened on the last segment as well. So we're batting not good, I guess, on this Brewsday Tuesday. Thankfully, and if you might even notice, I actually wrapped up last segment a little early because I was like, oh crap, somebody's ringing the doorbell. Well, we can just go ahead and wrap it up because we're about time to wrap it up anyways. So there you go. That's what we're dealing with here on the show. But hey, it just goes to show you we're live. What can you do? Sometimes you just got to roll the punches and just babble and talk about nonsense as you wait for your co-host to return, which, by the way, so now's the time I can go ahead and start talking trash about Nate, even though he, we'll probably watch these videos later oh, there we go. There's our winner walking away. Oh, look who's back. I wasn't talking trash about you or anything while you were gone. Another satisfied winner. Was that a one from Tenacious D?
Yeah, the show's tomorrow.
Yeah, the show's tomorrow. So we definitely needed to. They're cutting it a bit fine there, but I'm glad. Hopefully she will have a good time. So I was just talking about how, well, it's after 6, so it's officially after business hours, but people still sometimes pop by, and we try to be accommodating.
We're
but
just
do
so
this
very
regularly,
accessible.
folks. She could definitely be sitting out there, and she would have no qualms and no, wouldn't be able to bitch about it at all. So
Business hours are a thing.
yeah, I still haven't tried this beer yet. I was waiting for you to return. So yeah, let everybody know, the fine folks, what I gave you to pour.
Yeah, Dogfish Heads, Wake Up. I see there was a theme here. Wake Up Worldwide Stout. Ages well, says so right on the bottle. And ingredients. This isn't the recipe. These are the ingredients. But if you get these, you can probably make it. Malted barley, organic Nicaraguan Finca Terry. It's cold pressed coffee, ladies and gentlemen.
I was going to say, what's that?
Oat milk solids and hops, cinnamon and dextrose, and just for a touch of flavor, organic maple syrup. ABV, trying to find it. We'll
A Dogfish Head, for a lot of their big ones like that, sometimes they don't. If it's one that they're going to age, they sometimes don't put.
That's
I've
kind of
noticed,
what I'm thinking, because it's not on here.
like for their 120s recently, they don't even put the ABV on there, because depending on how long it's sitting, that could fluctuate. So that might be the case on that one.
Well, I think based on the label, I think where it says ages well is where the ABV usually is put on Dogfish Head labels.
Fair enough. So yeah, as we know, Dogfish Head, a pioneer in the, I would say, exploratory brews. They do a lot of funky stuff up there.
Improvisational brewing.
Perhaps
they just had these ingredients lying around.
Yeah, Sam does some funny stuff, but everything is usually,
it's the ABV
worth a try at least. Yeah, it should be. I mean, I would venture to say that that's probably higher than this one, and this is 10.2. So
I'm going to guess based on no science.
So there was something else that was mentioned during the break where we were playing that song, and you said, "Oh, I'll save it for the air." I'm going to go ahead and embark you or tap you to go ahead and say what you were going to say on the air.
There was a lot of things. I talk a lot.
A couple different things. One of them was about
Old Bust Heads caramel macchiato stout.
So, oh yeah, you did. So you got to. So we usually do a half a pour, which unfortunately on this one I think I might have poured a little heavy. I'm sorry about that. I did not mean to. But so, and then we tried the other beer afterwards. So
before today, I've only ever had that one like fresh pretty much as soon as I've got it. And it definitely benefits from aging. Usually when you initially get it, you kind of get the caramel and the coffee, but after aging for an unknown amount of time.
Well, actually, I thought about it.
Oh yeah, I
would have a photo, because it was the last one that we hosted, the last B3S that we hosted, which I took a group photo. And so I will have that on my phone. So granted, it would have been bottled, fairly before then. But let's take a look. This might take me a minute because you think what month do you think it was? July, maybe? June? Should it have been June? Well, yeah, because July we were gone on the RV trip. So it might have been would have been right before then, maybe. Probably June. There it is. Oh, nope. No, this is my canoe trip. It would have been after the canoe trip, right? Remember where I didn't bring any food?
Yeah.
Oh boy. All right. It should be in here.
Envious canoe trip. The point remains, it's been several months, and I feel like the vanilla just really like comes out and blends really well after aging for several months. So if you happen to get your hands on the Old Bust Head caramel macchiato stout, let it sit. It's still good, like fresh, but it does in fact age well.
I just figured out a better way to do it is to go to the events on the B3S page and see when the date was on that. You go to past events. Here we go. Facebook. There we go. June 30th.
Okay. Yeah. So it's been a couple months.
It's been a little while. But that hasn't been, that's not even that long in the grand scheme of things.
No.
When you think about beer, something that's maybe 5 months old, that's nothing.
It's true. The other thing I was talking about during the break is that stouts were kind of my first foray into
craft,
beer. Not
or
just
craft,
beer, just beer in general. I mean, obviously my first craft was Bell's Two Hearted, but Guinness was something that was always in the house. So, you're sneaking beers, you get some Guinness.
I never did that.
And I didn't either, if mom and dad happen to be watching. But and I always have kind of like had like a soft spot for stouts, but man, they are filling.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure I need dinner after this.
Well, I mean, honestly, that's maybe a good thing because beer, unfortunately, has a lot of calories, a lot of caloric intake when you're drinking some of these big craft beers. And so if you can get away with not eating, case in point, that canoe trip, I was basically drinking that was how I was able to stay alive, was because, we weren't eating basically anything. I was just drinking craft beer, and I felt fine. I never actually felt hungry. So yeah, that works. That being said, they can act if you're not eating, which by the way, I've not eaten anything yet today, but it can make you feel a little goofy.
Well, then it's
goofy.
doing its job.
Especially with these big beers. We'll see how I'm feeling after this show. It might be a bit.
I think based on nothing that this is at least 11.5 ABV, based on no science.
Well, we can check the Untapped app and see if somebody might have
cracked the code.
Somebody might have put a label on it. So what was it called? What, Wake Up something?
Wake Up World. Wide stout.
And also, I don't know if would that be probably 2023?
So the copyright date says 2022, but that could just be the copyright on the label.
Well, if it's 2022, according to Untapped, it's 15.3%.
Oh, good God. Yeah, see, I was off.
So
I mean, I could also see it being that. I'm really bad. Once you get over like 10 or 11, I'm a terrible gauge. I just know it has alcohol and it's working.
It can be tough to pinpoint it to a certain point.
I guess there's a point where it becomes like a barley wine or a mead, and then it's like, all right, well, I can tell this is obviously going to be
way up there.
But that like 10 to 19 range could just be throwing a dart at the board.
I don't know. I feel like over 15. I mean, granted, that's just there, but I feel like you'd be able to tell this is a big beer. Like, honestly, this one, 10.2. I'm surprised that this is 10.2. This tastes like it's a imperial, but I would have gauged it in maybe if you had to say above or below 10, I probably would have thought it would have been under 10. So I'm curious to try that one and give it a whirl.
Oh, I mean, you can taste and smell it, but I'm a terrible gauge. It's delicious. It'll wake you up and then potentially knock you right back on your ass.
I guess that's the point. So you want to go ahead? Have you had time? I know you were
scrambling,
grabbing some prizes for some of it, but yeah, you ready to untap it? What are you thinking?
Dogfish Head's another one of those. I think they've kind of been put in a position where they've helped craft brewing grow to what it has become, and I have such a appreciation and love for what they do. I'm also not wanting to necessarily just hand out fives, but I'm having a real hard time.
Oh, I thought you were going to go. I thought you were about to go in the other direction.
Finding anything to say bad about this.
I was waiting for the but.
No, it's a 5. It's delicious. It's smooth. You kind of get some of the heat from the alcohol, but it's not in a way that it overpowers the flavor. It's kind of a little creamy and absolutely delicious. This would be a dessert beer, like you're having a dinner party and you got a couple bottles.
Do you get notes of like actual like sweetness or chocolate or like what description to say? Because I think all these other ones have mentioned. Well, you got vanilla and caramel. You had the peanut butter chocolate. This one did mention chocolate and dark dried fruit, I believe.
This one's dark like chocolate. There's definitely that syrupiness to it, but you're not getting a ton of the maple, but it blends well with the coffee. So if you were to make coffee in Vermont while drunk, ferment it, I think this would be a spot on the nose.
Sold. So for the Imperial Stout from Left Hand Brewing Company, Wake Up Dead. This one not sweet at all. It does have chocolate, but it's dark chocolate, which is a bit more bitter. and you got the dried fruit and coffee. I got a feeling this will be my least. This is probably gonna be. I haven't tried that one, but I think this is gonna be my least favorite of the bunch. And I do wonder. I've been trying to hold it, to get it up there. I do think you might enjoy it more because maybe it has warm. Because 50 to 55, that's, I mean, a typical fridge is
10
just
degrees
over
below room temperature in my house.
Yeah, I mean, the typical fridge is like what, 35 or something. Like just so I think this is way colder than I should be drinking it. So maybe when you try it, it might be a little bit more to your liking. And again, you might want to hold it and try and warm it up a little bit first. But it's just, again, I feel like it is 10.2%. So that's good. That gets a little bit of a love from me because I do like a good big beer. It doesn't taste like it. I like to be able to taste if it's a big, strong beer. And I'm not really getting that this is a big, strong beer.
Oh, then
and again,
this.
It's more coffee than chocolate. So I like the sweeter. So this is pretty much not dogging the beer. This is just my palate, my preferences. So with that being said, it's still super solid. I'll probably still give it a 4, mainly because of the ABV. But I think this will be my least favorite of the bunch.
With 4 being the lowest, it's a pretty solid edition of Brewsday Tuesday.
That's a good day. That is a good day. And I tell you what, you know what we're doing next week?
More beer?
I would assume so.
All right.
I have no plans whatsoever, but I am so long over for a visit to go see Mikey at the cellar. So I'm sure there's a plethora of stuff. I haven't been there since my trip, believe it or not, which is embarrassing to say. So I need to get over there, raid the shelves and the coolers and see what's good because
Mikey will have it.
I got no shows planned. So we need to get over there and see what's up. And of course, I highly recommend you do the same. Get out there to the cellar. Our faithful sponsor for numerous years now, man. And Mikey's really cool. And the beer selection is fantastic. So definitely get out there and do it to it. Nate, I appreciate you joining me. We'll take a quick break. We'll get back with the tunes right here on 105.3 The Bear. I suggest you stick around.